It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and we're at What I Be, but here with you. DJ Stutz here with Little Hearts Academy and Imperfect Heroes podcast. And I'm just going to show you, I'm actually still in my classroom. So, tomorrow's our last day with kids. We have our little graduation. Tonight was a carnival with the kids, and so they just barely left a few minutes ago, and I think I'm the only one in the school at this point, but I'm trying to get things together for tomorrow and all the excitement that goes with it. And it's going to be a hard day for me because, for those of you who don't know, I'm retiring this year so that I can go on and do my coaching full-time and my podcast and do the work at Little Hearts Academy. And we're moving to Idaho. So we'll see how all of that goes. We're going to be homeless for about 6 to 8 months. So we're going to impose on, actually my son has some spots for us, and they're not too far from our build site, about 3 hours. And so I think we're just going to stay there with him for a while. And wow, so much going on. And the thought, I woke up this morning and the first thought that came to my mind was today is my last day of full learning, a full day with my students. And it was hard for me. It's still hard for me. I love these babies. I love what I do with them. And so what are you going to do? You move on, and it's a new game, and tomorrow we'll do our teddy bear picnic for our younger kids and our graduation to kindergarten for our older kids, and yeah, and then it's about done. So anyway, it's a busy, busy time. And I know that a lot of you guys are going through that busy, busy time yourselves. So you've got kids that are either, end of year, they're in kindergarten, first, second grade. Maybe they're doing some preschool or some things with the different programs. Maybe through your church, there's some things that are, going on for the end of the year. And, you're planning on vacations or maybe not with the economy doing what it's doing right now. But you're making plans on how to get through the summer and make it pleasant and wonderful and have those great memories that they will turn to and look to be an example to how they will provide for their own children. And so to help you, I actually have the amazing or your guide to an amazing summer. That's it. And it's just a good help. I've got calendars with themes for every day for June, July, and August. I've got even a game there where you can work with your kids to help them learn some of the differences between arachnids and insects. We've got scavenger hunts for traveling, whether you're traveling by car or by airplane. These are great ways to just keep their attention and keep them busy about other things so that you can get through and just enjoy that time with them. And so we've also got a thing to help with goals and some of the things that you want to do with your kids, some of the things that you want them to keep learning about so that they don't start the year a little behind or having lost some of that. And so what are some of the things that you want to do or need to do? You can talk to your child's teacher and say, what do I need to work on this summer? And they will tell you. They may tell you even if you don't ask. That's what I do. And so some of my kids, it's just getting their name down before they start kindergarten, or being able to associate all of those ABCs and their sounds, the sounds that they make. Maybe they're learning just to recognize ABCs, and that's fine. That's the work of kids, right? But the most important work that they're going to have and that you can help them with is just that social emotional piece. And I'm not talking about what's in the news and what's going on. I'm talking about honest, real social emotional learning. And so that's learning how to share or how to join in play with another group of kids. And so maybe if that's one of your goals, you can take them to the park, or you can take them we have a thing here called Urban Air, but it's just like a trampoline, and it's got a ropes course. It's got a lot of different things for kids to do. It's got a special area for the smaller kids, and then it's got areas for bigger kids. And so there might be something similar to that that's in your area, depending on where you are. And so maybe that's a great place to take your kids, or maybe you can buy a summer pass or something like that. Water parks, all of those things are fun. They can be expensive though. So what can you do if there's, money's getting tight and it's getting tighter quickly? And so what are some things that you can do to help with your child? So maybe instead of a water park, you do a backyard. I mean, we grew up playing in the sprinklers and thought it was great. We had a wonderful time. We had slip and slides. Be careful for how they land and stuff, but you can teach them how to do all of that. There's the backyard blow-up pools, or those plastic pools. Maybe your community has a pool that they can go to and you can all go to as a family. Parks are wonderful, but encourage your kids to maybe, oh, he looks like he might be fun to play with. How would you see if they want to play with you? Well, you have to invite them. And then that's practicing at home before you go, or if somebody is in the way or takes cuts, as you're waiting to get on a certain toy or a certain climbing thing, what can you say? What can you do? How can we handle this in a calm and nice manner? We don't need to shove. We don't need to push. We don't even need to shout, really. But we can assert ourselves calmly and just say, oh, I was here. And, you can see how they go. Don't jump in right away. If they get into, a verbal thing going on, or they're fighting over the same toy, give them a few minutes, or even just 30 seconds, but give them some time to try and work through it on their own. And they're going to start developing those skills that are really important and will help them get along. So I wanted to talk to you actually about, let me go back a minute. If you're still interested in wanting to learn more about how to help them through the summer, go ahead and go to www.littleheartsacademyusa.com, and then you can see there's the Your Guide to an Amazing Summer. You can sign up there. It's free, guys, so why not? Get your friends on it, and then you can work on it together and do some fun things. So there's some things for you there. This week, my podcast episode is about getting the right work, the right assistance for your kids who might have some special needs. Now, we talked a lot about neurodiversity. So there's ADHD. We talked a lot about that. We also talked about on the autistic spectrum, but there's a ton of other things that dyslexia, there could be sensory issues, so where they're sensitive to certain touches or sounds or volumes. There's a lot of ways that kids show that they have different needs, and it doesn't mean that they're necessarily handicapped, but that they just process things a little different. And isn't that a wonderful thing, actually, because our world needs people who can maybe look at a problem in a different way and figure out a better way to handle it. We look at Elon Musk, and from what I've heard, he's got Asperger's, which is part of the autistic spectrum. It's just at a higher end of it. So, he's got that going on with him. I know that a lot of people who are very successful in life as adults are ADHD. They've got that extra energy that makes them move. They do look at things a little differently. And kids with ADHD or adults with ADHD are more willing to take risk. And risk is important in solving problems and in trying new things and figuring out the world and some of the challenges that we as humans, that we as Americans are facing. We're going to need people like that. And so it's not this death sentence. It's not this like, oh, my child is going to be awful or have a terrible life. No, we're just going to work their lives in with what they know and how they process and how they learn. And they'll be able to do fine. So I talked with, her name is Delphine Rule, and she actually lives up in Canada. I've been getting some really cool international guests lately. I just had someone from Spain and then Canada. I've done Israel. I've done New Zealand. And so it's kind of fun just being able to reach out and learn from different ideas and concepts and theories from around the world. And so Delphine Rule is up in Canada, but she is a parent advocate. And let me just tell you, they are so important. If you are really struggling to get services for your child, if you're trying to get maybe a 504, which gives your children specific accommodations for maybe when they're taking a test, or maybe they need extra time, maybe they need a quieter atmosphere because those they have those sensory things with their sounds. And so maybe it's an IEP, and an individualized learning plan, which is something that would be more specific to a set medical diagnosis. And so you're going to be able to have, if you can find a parent advocate, and let me tell you, sometimes they can be hard to find because they really help the school district and they help the schools really stay on task with the accommodations or with the goals that have been set. And how are we going to learn? Are they getting X amount of minutes? Are they getting whatever? What Delphine does, though, and I love it, is she works within the school district, but she also works independently. And so if you need help that is outside of the school district, because, you know, if you have a child that has Down syndrome, or you have a child that's ADHD or has sensory things, and they need more help than what they're getting at the school district, then a private child advocate can really help you find, here are the best groups, here's a really good therapist, here's, you know, whatever. And they get to know you, they get to know your family. When I had, so those of you who have been listening for very long at all, you know that my youngest son, Christian, whom I guess we're going to be living with for a little bit, he has ADHD and it's severe. So when we went to a pediatric neurologist to meet with him at the beginning and just see what's going on with my kid, and he's just causing a holy nightmare in school and in class, and I don't understand why it's happening this way. So he actually, or the doctor, I mean, as in he said, I've treated over 3,000 kids, and your son is in the top 5 of effectiveness for ADHD, which is not what I wanted to hear, but it was the truth. It's what it was, right? And so you've got to move forward with it. And it took me literally a few years to track down a parent advocate in the school district. And I was well known in the school district. I was someone who I was on region PTA boards, PTA meaning Parent Teacher Association. I was the PTA president when my son's junior high was deemed the most overcrowded school in the nation. We had more than double the amount of kids that the school was built for. So that was an adventure trying to get that all done. I eventually wound up being the state PTA president, and I actually had the opportunity to travel around with the governor at the time, and we would talk about education and issues that were important to making sure our kids were getting the right education and they were coming out of school with knowledge that is useful, you know. And so I was kind of known. Even with that, it took me a couple of years and a lot of fighting to get the services that my son needed to do better in school. And it was amazing to me that when I was able to find teachers who got it, who understood what we were dealing with, who weren't intimidated or angry at my son for trying to do the best he could with all of this going on inside of his head, that he did amazing. He did amazing. And there was one year even that we went from I don't know. We always called it math for dummies, but it's not appropriate to call it that. But, remedial math, and his teacher hated him, and would pick on him. And this became very evident even by the time we were doing back to school night. And we introduced ourselves as Christian's parents, and he just started shaking. You could see the anger in him. Well, I happened to be the PTA president at the school at the time, good friends with the principal. And so when I went and talked to her, she said, well, the only other class, though, that we have room for him is in an honors math class. And I said, well, he's going to fail here or he's going to fail here. He's going to fail either way, but maybe being around a different teacher that doesn't hate him, it will have a better effect on him in the long run. And she said, okay, you've convinced me. And so we put him in there. And she got him. She knew how to handle him. She was such a good teacher. This kid went from being in remedial math to an honors math class with the highest grade in the class because he had a teacher who understood him and knew what to do. So, we got him on that honors math track for math, and that continued on through high school. But it was when I found the parent advocate, and we were able to make a meeting. And it's funny because I'd asked for a meeting at the beginning of the year, and maybe half his teachers showed up. You could see no one was interested. They were fighting any little thing that I was trying to get help from. Then I would say, this is from his pediatric neurologist. This is what the neurologist is saying that he needs to have in order to be successful. And they were fighting every little bit of it. Thanks, Clark County. So I found her. We set up another meeting. And when they found out she was coming, oh my gosh, all the teachers were there. There were counselors there. There were deans there. An assistant principal was there. And she said, this is what we're going to do with this kid. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. And he started getting the services that he needed. So whether you need to do it through the school district, and honestly, I didn't know at the time that and maybe there weren't at the time because it's been a long time since he's been, we've been trying to get all of that stuff done, but that there were private parent advocates that you could find and look for. And so to get services outside and to know what he needed, how best to do it. One of the things that Delphine really talked about, and I loved hearing about it, was she was able to work with and find different clinics that had all of the key services that a child who is neurodiverse, that just means they think differently. So that's ADHD, that's dyslexia, that's ADD, that's sensory issues, autistic spectrum, any of that they have the key players all in one clinic, in one group, medical group. And so you could go and you could even set up different meetings so that they were right after each other, and you're not traveling clear across town. You're not having to shuffle paperwork from here to here to here. It was all in one place. So that's something to look for in your neighborhood or in your town or vicinity, that if they've got something like that, that might be something to look at. One of the things that I really liked is that she's just so patient, and here she is doing what she does. So she's dyslexic herself, grew up with that, and so she understood some of the challenges that were out there on a first-hand basis as a kid, not wanting to be different, not wanting to, back then she complained about having to have a computer. Now everyone's got their phone, which is way more effective than a computer, so that they could ask things on the phone. They could look things up. They could hear what the answers are rather than having to read so much, because the letters are turned around and it's hard for them to really process that information. So she, now we've got all of these technologies that are available. We've got special things that they can use online on a computer. So they can have an app for something that helps them with whatever it is that their needs are, and they can access it quickly and without making it a big deal about what they need. So the school that I work in right now, in this amazing little place that I love, also has a deaf and hard of hearing program. And so that's another service that you might want to see a clinic or see what's going on. But for our program, we've got interpreters that are over by, and it's really common. It's for the kids, like they're in mainstream classrooms, but interpreters are so common within our school. It's just every day. Nobody cares. It's not a big deal, And so you might want to look for something. Maybe there's a charter school. Maybe a lot of school districts have specialty schools for kids with different abilities. And so you can look around and see what's going on. So that might be a charter school. It might be a magnet school. They're called a lot of different things. Specialty school. But look and see what's available for your kid. But once again, having an advocate that they will know what's available. And so it saves you a lot of time. It saves you a lot of stress. But if you can't find one, don't give up and don't say, well, we can't. You're going to have to do that work, but you can find it. And there are more parent services available than there used to be when Christian was going through it. We kind of need to watch, and we didn't really talk about this in the podcast, but we do kind of need to watch. There's a pendulum kind of swinging another way with parents in school right now. So parents who are demanding services for their kids or whatever, parents are being, in a lot of places, they're being pushed away, pushed out. Even in my own school district, and I was attending a training just a couple weeks ago, and it was about a social emotional learning program called Step 2. Or no, it's not Second Step, sorry. And it's a great program. I like it. I don't see anything wrong with it so far. That could change down the road. But, it's truly how to notice your feelings and how your body feels feelings. And so sometimes your stomach will get tight. Teaching kids to notice how their body reacts to and then it talks about who can you go to if you need help, how to get into play with a friend that you want to play with, or, how to ask a teacher for help. If some kids are really shy and they're afraid to ask a teacher, it goes through all of these great things. And so at the end, they had a question thing. And so, of course, me. And so I said, SEL is kind of like a hot button word right now with a lot of parents, and it's associated with, why can't I think of it? Anyway, some other programs that are just really controversial. And I said, so what do we have to talk to parents? What do you have that you can share with us so that we can put parents more at ease with, what we're teaching their kids? And she stiffened up and she was like, well, we don't really consider those parents. I said, really? Why not? And she said, because they already have their mind made up and there's nothing you can do. So why even bother? We're not even talking to them. And I said, well, have you thought about if a parent has a concern, invite them into the classroom and let them see you teaching it. Let them see what materials you're using. Share that with them and so that they can really see. And she says, oh, no, we're not doing that, because that'll only give parents the impression that they have a say in what we teach. And I thought, yep, it's time to retire. So there's that swing, and so I'm wondering if we're going to have a harder time down the road finding things, or if parents are just going to say, yeah, this is ridiculous, and they're going to keep fighting and keep saying, I don't want my child involved in this, or I want my child involved with some things that they need to help them learn. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. But I do know that if you need to advocate for your child, you need to advocate for your child. And there are different things that you can do. If you have questions about where to go, how to find it, what's a better way to approach a school or a teacher or principal, or now I have the hiccups, or a school district, feel free to contact me. You can always post a question on the website here. You can always just email me at djstutz@littleheartsacademyusa.com, or just message me. That's easy. I'm also on Instagram, and it's Imperfect Heroes podcast. And so you can get me there on Instagram. But I'll be happy to help you through that, give you some ideas of where you can go. Maybe we can do some research and find a parent advocate that would be in your area that can help you out. So just don't quit asking questions, and don't let anyone push you away from the things that you need and your child needs. So there we are. And I'm doing this episode now. You think, well, it's summer. What's going on? Well, this is the time to start meeting with district people. Your principals are in their school most of the summer. They only have like maybe 2 or 3 weeks off, but they're in the school. And so you can call and ask questions. The district people, they're year round. And so you can call the district people and special services and ask them these questions. And this is my child's diagnosis, or this was our experience, and where do we go? And if you're not getting the answers you need, you take it up a next step. You just keep going up the ladder. You can also get some friends to stand by you and to help you out. Speaking of, getting things all in a row, do it this summer so that when you start school, you've got everything ready. Everything is set. And so you're good to go. And so I want you to really think about the summertime is the time that is given to you to get some of that work done as much as you can, to get things as nicely set up as you can. So there you are. Be sure to go to my website, which is the littleheartsacademyusa.com, and check out the Guide to Your Amazing Summer. And just have fun this summer. Mine starts, my job, I've got 2 days left. I've got 1 day left with kids and another day to set up things for cleaning this summer in my room and to get it ready for the next teacher. So, what a week, huh? But I know there's new adventures coming, and I will find new ways to be involved with families and to help children. And it's going to be really great to be able to spend more time with coaching, with my parent coaching, and with the podcast, and with doing things to help others, because that's truly my goal. So thank you so much for being a part of this. And if you miss any of it, you can always hit the replay on here. We're also posting these on YouTube at Little Hearts Academy USA. So you can find us on YouTube there. And so until next week, let's find joy in parenting. See you later, guys.